I am ready. I'm going to start soon. I can do this. I can. I believe in myself. I'm not afraid. Hi everyone, I'm Jess. Today we're doing the booktube newbie tag. Either I am ready to start this video or I can no longer find a reason to procrastinate. The first question is, why did you start this channel? I don't have any goals this year. I have free time. I don't have a plan for this year or my life. I'm obsessed with booktube as a whole, and last year I read 80 books. I never write Goodreads reviews. I don't think that I'm a good writer, or I don't explain myself well in that forum, but I have so much to say about all of the books that I read, and so I felt like this would be a good hobby, a creative outlet. I had watched an interview with Barbara Kingsolver where she said her hobbies are always tangible. She has a big garden or like a farm, so she gets products from that. She loves to knit. There's an item afterwards. She writes books, which is what she is famous for, and so she has a book afterwards. And I felt that my hobbies are usually intangible, or I read but there's no follow-up, I keep it to myself, or I love things like Scrabble or Sudoku, and those are all internal isolated hobbies. And I wanted something where I felt like, okay, I can make videos and that would be something that I can see, I can track, I can document my life. And so this year I want to do something that's still within the realm of my hobbies, reading, editing videos, but something that's a little bit out of my comfort zone. Doing this, sitting here, talking to you, is really putting myself out there in a way that I never thought I would do. I do feel a little bit silly, but it is something that I want to try in 2024. Question 2 are, what are some fun, unique things that you could bring to booktube? And I don't think I'm too concerned about being unique. I'm doing this because it's something fun, a hobby for myself. Also, I don't know if there's anything new under the sun. I think that there are many incredible booktubers. Maybe YouTube is already oversaturated with book content. So I don't know if I personally am bringing anything new. I think there are certain things that I really like and would like to try. For example, I love big concept videos like Books and Lala or Meg with Books, videos that would take maybe a month to make or that would be themed. I like the idea of doing Women in Translation Month and really reading books in Women in Translation, or reading the Women's Prize for Fiction. So maybe big concept type of videos, but again, it's been done before, so I just hope that you like what I'm doing. Question 3 is, what are you most excited for about this channel? And for me, it's a variety of things: getting out of my comfort zone, learning new skills, but also bringing my main hobby into this creative outlet, being able to talk about all the books that I loved or absolutely hated, trying new things, meeting new people, and feeling like I have a sense of community here on booktube. Questions 4 and 5 I want to group together because it says, why do you love reading, and then what book or series got you into reading? And I want to say that it's not a specific book or series, but who got me into reading. And from a young age, some of my earliest childhood memories would be my parents reading books to me. It would be a part of our nighttime routine. I have a younger sister as well, and so the thought of having a warm Milo, I don't know if you prefer warm or cold, or if you're a Horlicks family, but having a warm Milo, having one of my parents read something to me from very early on, where I was at the point where I couldn't read and I was starting to memorize the words or nudge my mom or dad when they were falling asleep. And my grandmother, who would take myself in a pram, or when my sister was there, my sister would be in the pram, and we would go to our local library. So I think that having those important people in my life who love reading and instilled that love of reading was very important for why I still love reading now. If I were to mention a specific book or series, I would have to say, just like everyone else, I read Jacqueline Wilson, I think, as a teenager. And then when the Harry Potter books came out, I specifically remember reading the second book first, because the first book I just couldn't get at the library. And I'm so glad, because I love the second one a lot more than the first one, even though I'm afraid of snakes, spoiler warning. But I think that obviously stands out as an obsession in my mind. One of the books, the sixth book, which is my favorite, came out on my birthday, and I went to the midnight launch again with my parents. And so those special memories really stand out to me. Number 6 is, what questions would you ask your favorite booktubers? And firstly, I have lots of favorite booktubers, but I think that speaking in front of the camera confidently, I would ask Anna Wallace Johnson. I think she is an actress, and so this is a skill that she has. And I know that it's a skill that I can learn, that I can practice, but I think she would be the perfect person to ask something like that. I think when it comes to constraints as well, I think a lot of people want to know how booktubers read over 100 or over 200 books a year. I think that for myself, reading 80 books last year was because it was my main hobby. I was not doing anything else. I spent all of my evenings reading books. Where going into this year, I do want to work on fitness, and going to the gym is an over an hour long process. God forbid you have to wash your hair. And so something like that will really change the trajectory of how I use my time. I would like to have other hobbies as well this year, and so being able to read even 100 books seems impossible. I've actually reduced my reading goal this year to 40, so that I can remember that I should probably go outside sometimes, or I should try to do some other things. I should maybe play a sport, which I've never done in my life. Secondly, I think the cost of books is really expensive, and so I would ask booktubers, especially starting out, their access to books. Books are expensive. I don't have a lot of space for books in my house, so I won't have a bookshelf full of TBR books. And then for myself, I have to read in tandem because of my very slow reading speed. Jim Quick would call my reading speed remedial, and so I need to listen to an audiobook and read the book physically or on ebook, which is why I use Everand for most of my books, or I have to submit to the doc overlord that is Amazon and buy an Audible book, because I need that. I don't have access to that audiobook on Everand, for example. And so I think that another question I would ask would be access to books in the beginning. And that leads into the next question, because the next question is, what challenges do you think starting a booktube channel will be the hardest to overcome? And I think for myself, just showing up, being on camera is already very challenging, and hopefully I've overcome that fear by putting out this first video, if I make it public. But I think that also just not feeling like my hair has to be just right, or I have to look a certain way in order for me to put something on the internet. I've never been a photo person. I don't like being in front of the camera. So for me, that is something very challenging to overcome. So if I'm doing a longer project type of video over a period of a month, if I'm doing a vlog style video, how will I feel about the way that I look in certain shots? And I think that's something that I might have to deal with. And then lastly, the last question is, what kind of books do you like to read? And for myself, I think the next video that I do will be my best books of 2023, so that will give you a better idea. But essentially, I do like to read literary contemporary fiction, also historical fiction. I think I got into it a little bit last year. Non-fiction, not as much, but I'm thinking about reading some finance bro books and some productivity books, because Ali Abdaal's Feel Good Productivity just came out and I've pre-ordered it, and so I'm curious to read that and see what I can implement in my life this year. I definitely want to read Women in Translation, more translated books. I've also joined the Emmy's World Tour Book Club on Fable, so that once a month I can read a book from a different country, which is also something that I had started last year. And I think I read from 12 countries, I think excluding England and the USA last year. And so that's something that I would love to continue in this year. So hopefully it will be a variety of books. And if you do like books that are similar to what I read and the videos that I show you over the next month or so, I hope that you will subscribe and join me, and thank you so much for watching this video.